right, I'm just going to give it a couple seconds so that everyone from the waiting room can join us. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our virtual event today. The topic today is campus life and student activities. My name is Tian August. I work here at Stony Brook University in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions. Thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon. It's great to see some of your faces and have everyone here. So thank you for joining us. We have a great lineup of folks from campus residences here and student engagement and activities. We've got staff. We have some current students here to talk to you a little bit about Stony Brook and all the cool and fun things you can do here, tell you about campus life and how you can get involved on campus. So before we get to our presentation, I just want to let you know that if you have any questions at all during the event, you can send it in the chat to anyone named Ask a Question, and those people are our admissions counselors. They'll be able to answer any admissions related questions if you had any. And then they'll also be sure to get your topic related questions to our presenters today to answer during the Q&A. And this event will be is being recorded, so we'll have that up on our YouTube page after the event. So probably tomorrow it'll be up on our YouTube page, and we will share that link with you in an email, follow-up email that you'll get after the event. So again, thanks for joining us. We're super excited that you're here. And without further ado, we're going to start with our friends from Student Engagement and Activities. So take it away.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mel Farron. I currently work as a program coordinator for the Department of Student Engagement and Activities here at Stony Brook. And I'm joined by some friends. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves right now.
I'm Christine Marullo. I'm the Director of Student Engagement Activities. I'll be answering any questions you have, and I'll let Michelle introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shell. I'm currently a junior here at Stony Brook. I am a double major in economics and applied math, and I work as an event coordinator for student engagement activities.
Awesome. So I think we'll start on our presentation. I will quickly share my screen for you all to see. Great. So again, we're student engagement and activities. Here at Stony Brook, we currently work out of our new student union, which is beautiful. If you ever are walking around campus just to visit, please come check it out. It's a brand new building, and we're really proud to have it. So a little bit about us, as you can see here, our mission as a department is to help students discover their potential, right? And find opportunities to engage in university life. So through the experiences that students have here at Stony Brook, we hope that they develop skills to really become leaders and lead here at the university, but also beyond, right? So today what we're gonna do is basically go through who we are as a department, some of the different areas that we oversee, as well as different ways that you can get involved here at Stony Brook if this is where you choose to attend college. So without further ado, why involvement, right? So this is something that our department, Student Engagement Activities, also known as SEA for short, is really, this is really where we revolve around, right? Getting our students involved. Why? Because it's a really great way to make friends, become part of the community, and really engage within Stony Brook. You can expand your interests, you can have fun, and really hone in on some skills that are valued by future employers, because I think the end goal is to go to college and get a job. You can really create a network here by getting involved and enhance your success. right? There's studies that show that students who are involved on campus have higher GPAs, and that's really awesome. So how can you get involved? We'll talk a little bit more about the different ways, but just know that we have different tools and resources like a really fun BuzzFeed quiz that would tell you what kind of clubs you should check out. We have a whole platform called SB Engage where you can see different organizations and events that we put on, both by our student organizations and also our departments here on campus. And there's also an app version of that, which is really cool. We have involvement coaches. So let's say you come here to Stony Brook and you're like, I think I want to get involved, but I'm not really sure what to do or where to start. They can help you and guide you and really be sort of like a friend to assist you in that process. We have involvement fairs where most of our student organizations come out and try to recruit new members. We have over 300 organizations right now, which is really exciting. So there's a lot to do. You can check out our Instagram or our Facebook at any point and see what we're all about. And also at the end of the day, if you're like, okay, I've seen everything and there's nothing really that I think fits me, I want to create my own thing, that's actually a possibility as long as we don't already have that on campus. So I can speak to you all day about getting involved, but I also want to let some of our current students share what they got out of being involved. And we made this video last semester, so it's pretty recent. And I want to share that with you so that you can quickly get an idea of what we're all about and what our students say they're getting out of their involvement here at Stony Brook.
As a first-year commuter student, it was definitely a little harder to find community at Stony Brook. However, getting involved allowed me to find that community and find a place where I could fit in.
The reason why I joined clubs is because I thought of it as an opportunity to broaden my horizons and connect with those around me.
Learn a lot about leadership capabilities and communicating with other people on how technology can be used in different fields and for different applications such as childcare and making people feel loved.
First started out as an intern doing research with one of our projects, and I worked my way up through leadership experiences and gained different skills for the positions that I held, such as time management, responsibility, accountability, and public speaking. I was able to network with different people as well as establish a professional relationship, and I feel like those skills are necessary for you to develop more throughout your college experience.
It gave me the opportunity to be part of a fun and inclusive organization.
It helped me realize that I wanted to declare a second major and engage in the academic community.
It's because I wanted to become part of something bigger than myself. Part of a program that inspires and encourages me to reach my full potential in academics and physical fitness. Join clubs that force you to step out of your comfort zone, because by doing so, you will only succeed.
JSA gave me a community I wouldn't have found otherwise without getting involved in these extracurriculars. And there's literally a club or an organization for anything you may want to discover, learn about, or be a part of.
Take that chance and go to that interest meeting.
Yeah. I do not want to play that again. Okay, so Obviously, as you can see, that is what our students believe they're getting out of their experiences and their involvement here at Stony Brook, which is really exciting to see. And you can see that they were all part of something different. So that's just something that you can expect if you were to come to Stony Brook. We definitely want to make sure that we have a little bit of something for everyone. So now I'm actually going to pass it on to Shail, and he can tell you a little bit more about our department, what he does, and some of his experiences.
All right, everyone. So over the course of the next few slides, I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about the different areas within our department and what those areas focus on. As Mel mentioned earlier, the goal of our department as a whole is to provide opportunities for students to be engaged in and sort of involved in campus life at the university. And each of these areas focuses on very specific things to sort of achieve that final goal. Our three areas of focus are clubs and organizations, fraternity and sorority life, and programs and traditions. Through clubs and organizations, we oversee over 300 recognized clubs and orgs and provide leadership and development opportunities for students. Through the fraternity and sorority area, we oversee over 30 recognized chapters on campus, and for them also provide training and leadership development opportunities. And through programs and traditions area, we provide social programming for students in the efforts to build a community for the students on campus and just at the university in general. Next slide. So I'm going to go a little bit more into detail about the detail regarding the area specifically. So first and foremost, we have clubs and organizations. Like I mentioned, there are upwards of 300 clubs at a university with everything ranging from cultural to advocacy to media to academic, service, spiritual, fraternal, and sports and leisure based. These various clubs and orgs have hosted over 3,000 events in the 1920 academic year alone. And that number is pretty significant and gives you an idea as to how involved the campus community is and the numerous opportunities that are available to students to sort of be involved on campus. Next slide. The next area is fraternity and sorority life. Greek life on campus is extremely vibrant and diverse. There are over 30 social, professional, and culturally based organizations. These value-based organizations they offer opportunities for members to develop and improve personally and professionally. As you can see on the slide, there are about 6% of undergraduate students who are affiliated. And in the 1920 academic year, our students participated in over 10,000 hours of active community service and contributed to over $37,000 for philanthropic causes. Excuse me. And there are some requirements also if you're looking to join a fraternity or sorority. The minimum GPA is a 2.5 cumulative, and you need to have earned a minimum of 12 credit hours at a college campus. So if anyone's interested and looking to join a fraternity or sorority when you come to campus, or if you look to go to Stony Brook, then this is just something to keep in mind. Next slide. Okay. So last but not the least, we have programs and traditions, and this is the area that I specifically work with. Like I mentioned, I am an event coordinator for student engagement activities. So part of my role involves planning and programming weekend activities. The focus of this area is to host sort of multiple events per week to sort of enhance the quality of campus life and build connections with other students. Like Mel mentioned, we do have all of our events posted on SB Engage and the app, which is called Quark. So all those events are available for students to view in a very user-friendly manner. We do a large variety of events, including craft and paint nights to trivia, movie nights, food expos, game shows. We bring on artists like hypnotists, comedians, magicians. We do things like trips off campus into the city, and we do a lot much more to sort of give you an idea as to what that broad spectrum is. And while I'm on this slide, I actually want to take a few moments to talk about why I got involved as a student while I'm on the area I work with. For me, it was mainly three things that sort of pushed me to get involved more. The first thing was productive use of my time. Many of you, when you enter college, will realize that you tend to have a lot more free time on your hands than you did back in high school. And for me, I wanted to make productive use of the time I had, and getting involved was one of those ways for me. Secondly, I wanted to explore more and put myself out there more. In high school, I was very much, just into studying and academics. And when I came into college, I realized I had all these opportunities available to me. So I want to take that step in sort of allowing for personal growth in myself. And lastly, I wanted to do something that allowed me to be part of the Stony Brook community and give back to the community in a sense. And the only way I realized I could do that was through getting involved and holding different roles or positions or working with the campus community in general. And I can say that I am very, very happy in the position I am in with this department. There are many things you get from being involved on campus, and this role has taught me so much regarding my professional and personal skills and allowed me to grow and develop as a person. I've had the chance of working with a great group of people, and I've had the chance to build so many relationships, connections that I will cherish forever, to be honest. And it has allowed me the chance to work with campus partners and organizations. It's really shown me the true sense of what it means to be part of the Stony Brook community. And for someone who is an economics major, I can say that getting involved is getting involved on campus at university is probably one of the biggest investments you can make in yourself, because the return on that investment, so to say, is exponential, and you will tend to reap the benefits of that investment in the short term and the long run. So just a piece of advice to leave you guys with.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shale. So basically, as Shale was saying, there are so many opportunities that you can take advantage of just within our department, right? And that's just a small portion of what Stony Brook University is, as you'll hear in a few moments from our friends at Campus Residences. So really, we just want to reiterate what campus life can look like. Obviously, as you know, it may look a little different this year. I think we're all aware of that, but our clubs and organizations are still active. There's still events happening virtually and in person. So what I'm going to show you is a video from our recap of last year. So just keep in mind that things still look a little different right now, and we don't know what they may look like in the future, but regardless, our clubs and organizations and our students are just really vibrant and keeping up all the great work. Awesome. So again, as you can see, that was a little bit of what all of our student organizations and even our Programs and Traditions team did last year. It was a lot, and it was a lot of fun, and we can't wait to continue those traditions on. So just a little overview. because I know that there might be questions as to what does campus life look like this year, right? I mentioned that it was different, and that's okay. We're working through the different. So our clubs and organizations are still active. Many of them, because not everyone is currently living on campus, they do a lot of virtual events for their organization members. They do a lot of game nights. They'll do like movie Netflix watch parties together to really build community around the organization and within each other. We do have some in-person events that are happening on campus for those students who are living here, or maybe commuter students who want to come in for those events. So I can tell you that there's a lot of craft nights happening. We have drive-in movies that have been going really well. Next week, we have our traditional Spooky Brook. So sort of like our Halloween themed events where our department with programs and traditions, our undergraduate student government and our student organizations put on events for our students, ranging again from craft nights. There's a haunted house, right? There's a lot of different things. And you can actually see some of those events if you go on SB Engaged. Some events are viewable to the public, especially those happening next weekend. So I definitely encourage you to take a look at that if you're interested in seeing sort of what we're doing. So I don't know if we want to do questions for our department right now, or if we want to have our friends from campus residences do their presentation first, and then we can all take questions together.
I think let's go on to Campus Res, and then we'll do the Q&A after they're done their presentation. Does that sound okay?
Perfect.
Okay, great. Thanks. Take it away, Al.
Great. So I'm Al DeVries. I am the Director of Housing at Stony Brook, and I'd be remiss if I didn't also share that I'm a twice over alum, have my bachelor's and my master's from Stony Brook, and I've been at the university for over 40 years. So Stony Brook is clearly my home, and I will talk to anybody about why it's such an amazing place to be at any time. So if you're on campus visiting, or you want to shoot me an email or call me, I'd be happy to talk to you about why I came to Stony Brook and why I've stayed all these years. So I'm also going to introduce one of our RAs who's with us today. So I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Marina. I'm an RA in Dewey College, which is part of Kelly Quad. I am a junior here, and I'm a human evolutionary biology major with a minor in leadership development. I'm actually came from across campus where Shaila and I were, we were residents together and we are fellows together. So we love Stony Brook, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear more about our campus residence program because it really is the best.
So, thanks, Marina. And actually, I'd be remiss if I also didn't say that Shaila is also one of our RAs. So I may actually tap him to speak in a little bit as well and talk about his experience as an RA, because Marina can talk about the experience of being an RA in a suite style quad, and Shaila can talk about the experience of being an RA in a corridor style quad. So I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully it's going to work. Let's try this. Or not. Maybe not. So I will talk through, and I will make sure that when Tien shares the presentation, that we also share our PowerPoint presentation as well. So as I said, I'm from Campus Residences. We are the largest housing program in the state of New York, and one of the largest in the country, with the exception of NYU in New York. And we can't begin to compete with NYU in terms of number of beds, because they simply go out and buy buildings and repurpose them into residence halls. But in a normal year for us, and as Mel said, this is not a normal year, but in a normal year for us, we house almost 11,000 students on campus, and we continue to grow. So we are quite large. And despite the fact that we're large, we try and make the residence hall community as personalized and as small as possible. And we do that through a variety of ways that you'll hear about, but probably most fundamentally is through the RAs like Shell and Marina, who work on the floors with the students and try and take what could be a larger campus and turn it into a smaller environment. So there are a number of benefits of living on campus. And just as Mel talked about, in terms of getting involved on campus, students who live on campus historically end up with a higher GPA. And I think that has to do with some of the things that Mel talked about in terms of becoming engaged in the campus community, but also in terms of having close access to campus resources, things like tutoring centers, computing centers, access to faculty and advisors in close proximity that you might not have if you were commuting in every single day. And again, of course, that engagement piece. In addition to the programs that our colleagues in student engagement spoke about, there are more than 3,000 programs that take place in the residence halls every year. And some of those are obviously collaborative programs that take place with our colleagues on other parts of campus, including student engagement. But the RAs in particular are really voracious programmers, and we expect it of them, but they do it anyway because it's a part of helping to enrich the student experience on campus. And at some point, Marina and maybe Shell will talk about some of the types of things that they've done as RAs to try and bring some engagement to the students that live on campus. And another byproduct of living on campus is leadership opportunities and employment opportunities. So every building has a hall council, which in essence is the government for that building. There is also a residence hall association that represents all of the residence halls on campus and is the, for lack of a better word, the governing body for the residence halls. And then in terms of employment, we are, other than food service, we are the largest employer on campus, employing probably close to 500 or 600 students a year between the RAs, folks that work in our safety services area, folks that work in computing centers, fitness centers, in our building offices, our area offices, and of course in my office as well. So not only is it a chance to have a job and make some extra money, but it's a chance to network and maybe meet some other folks that might take you on a career path that you might not have anticipated when you first got to Stony Brook. We have a variety of living options on campus, anything from corridors to suites to apartments. And our apartments are for our upper division students, our grad students, and our families. But corridors and suites are two very different living options. And as I said, Shale is an RA in a corridor style building and Moraine is an RA in a suite style building. But in a corridor style building, there are multiple rooms on the floor. There's a bathroom that's shared by about 35 or so folks on that floor, and a large lounge at the end of the floor that could be used as a meeting space, could be used for study space, could be used as a programming space. But it's a really great way to develop community, because when you walk out your bedroom door, you're right on the floor and you're meeting lots and lots of people in a very easy way, especially for those folks that maybe are not as gregarious and might be a little bit more reserved. You can't help but meet the folks on your floor when you walk out your bedroom door. When you live in a suite, you've got 2 or 3 bedrooms, a living room or a study area. In some buildings, it's a kitchenette, but typically those are buildings that upper division students live in because they want to be able to cook their own meals if they have the opportunity. And then there's a bathroom that's shared by 4 or 6 people. So again, lots of engagement that can take place there, and Marina can speak to that maybe in a little bit. But you've got not only your bedroom door as a barrier, but also the suite door, as when you come out onto the floor, you may not necessarily see a lot of folks migrating around like you would in a corridor style building. So pluses and minuses to each, and available to students really across the board. So in terms of amenities that we offer in every building has a community kitchen. So whether it's a building that's designated for cooking or not, there is a kitchen in each building that's available. Sometimes the RAs may use it for programming, but it's available for folks to be able to heat things up, to cook a light meal, even if you're on a meal plan. I will say that in this current environment this year, and hopefully we'll be back to a more normal situation next year, our kitchens are closed off, our community kitchens are closed off, just in terms of keeping folks safe and not spreading infection. But hopefully comes next year, we'll be back to a more normal operation. There's a recreation room in nearly every building. There's a classroom in every building. There are lounges in addition to the classroom. Sometimes, as I said, that could be on the floor. Sometimes it could be a study lounge in the building. It could be a large multi-purpose room. Every building has a laundry room, sometimes more than one, depending on the size of the building. And laundry is included in the cost of your rent on campus. So no need to worry about, where am I going to wash my clothes? Do I have to take them home? Do I have to find a laundromat? Is there someplace else on campus? It's right in your building, and it's free as part of your room, as is Wi-Fi and cable TV, again, built into the cost of living on campus. And there are mail rooms in every part of the campus as well. So multiple quads on campus or multiple communities on campus have mail rooms that service all of the residence halls and apartment areas. So that's where your mail comes, that's where your packages come. And in fact, a couple service, full service mail rooms where you can actually go and mail packages and send out your mail without having to go to the post office. One of our shining points, and we have these in collaboration with our colleagues in undergraduate academic affairs, are our residential tutoring centers. And these are services that are free to students who live on campus, as well as commuters use them as well, where particularly for our large classes that sometimes folks might need some extra help, some of the chemistry classes, the biology classes, things of those ilk. There are student tutors who are paid, so again, an employment opportunity to provide tutoring assistance to students in some of those larger, maybe first year classes where it might be a little bit more challenging. So some of the goals are to assist students as they adjust to course structure, particularly in some of the larger courses, allow students to learn that asking for help is a part of the learning process. Sometimes people get overwhelmed and they think I've got to do this by myself, and clearly you don't. You will not succeed if you don't look for help. And the tutors in the tutoring centers are just one of the many resources that are there to help out. And one of the other goals of the tutoring centers is to particularly retain students in the STEM programs, because they in fact can be very, very challenging and rigorous. Not that our other programs aren't, but the tutoring centers really provide another bridge for them. One of the things that's another shining star for the campus is our undergraduate college model. So that is an academic theme program. It's not tied to a major, but every first year student comes in and they're placed into one of currently 6 undergraduate colleges. And the campus is currently looking at the undergraduate college model, also looking at our housing model in terms of how we place folks into spaces based on the undergraduate colleges. So don't know what that may look like in the fall or maybe beyond next fall, but the undergraduate college model will still stay, even if it's modified slightly. And what that does is it takes a large campus and it breaks down into different theme areas. So there's a faculty advisor, there's an academic advisor or academic advisors, the hall director to the building, and of course our RAs, who all complement the theme of that undergraduate college. So that could be something along the lines of science and society, arts, culture and humanities, global studies, information technology, leadership and service, and human, sexual, and gender studies are the current undergraduate colleges that we have. And again, they may stay, they may be tweaked, they may be moved, but that model of a student being placed into a smaller community to try and become closer and better integrated into the campus community will continue regardless of how the undergraduate college looks like. We have a number of specialty communities on campus, so we have substance-free housing. Of course, we are a smoke-free campus, and you need to be 21 or older to drink, but we do have substance-free buildings for folks that, even if they're of age, choose to not want to be in an area where there might be alcohol. We have quiet living communities, so all of our buildings have quiet hours, some that are staggered by the day of the week. But in some buildings, we know that some students want a more rigorous quiet schedule. So the quiet hours in those buildings tend to be a little bit longer. Basically, if the noise leaves my bedroom, I should feel free to be able to say to Shale, hey, Shale, you're a little bit too loud today. Could you just lower the noise? And Shale would do that without having to feel like it's a problem. We have gender inclusive housing, over 300 beds of gender inclusive housing across the campus. So it is a very popular option for folks that want an alternative to a traditional male or female housing environment. Some of our spaces are air conditioned. We, as I mentioned earlier, we have family housing, and we work very closely with our colleagues in the Student Accessibility Support Center for students who have special needs, whether it's psychosocial or medical or other physical needs that require a special kind of accommodation on campus. We are a full service residential operation. So what I mean by that is, in addition to just housing and just the RAs and the hall directors that provide the student life and the programming on campus, we have a dedicated facility staff that works in all the residence halls and apartments. And that's really very important to us, because if our students are living here for 10 and in some cases 12 months a year, they want to know that their facilities are going to be well maintained. So there's a custodial staff that comes into the suites and apartments once a week and cleans the bathrooms, and in the apartments cleans the kitchen areas as well. And in our corridor style buildings, they clean those bathrooms twice a day. And in some instances now, because of COVID, they're doing it even more frequently. It is, of course, a shared responsibility that everybody cleans up after themselves and maintains the facilities for everybody else's use. but we do provide those staff that are there. And there's a robust pool of facility staff that if there's a problem in your room, whether it's a leak or a light is out or some other facilities problem, that there's an opportunity to submit a work request, and those folks would come in a pretty time efficient process and address the problem, and usually pretty successfully. And if not, it's a bigger issue, and then typically we would look for another solution for you. So I talked a little bit about involvement, but just to reinforce it, there's lots and lots of programming that goes on. Again, I'll let Marina and perhaps Shale speak about that as well. The hall council is the hall government, again, for the individual building, the Residence Hall Association I spoke about. And I'd be remiss again if I didn't speak about the RA position. It is a great opportunity for leadership skills, for personal growth, as well as for getting a job in the future, whether you end up in a helping field or not. Employers like to see that you've had a leadership position, and RA positions are one that they very frequently look at because they know you've got to balance your schedule. They know that you've had to think on your feet, respond to emergencies, as well as be creative. So again, Marina and Shell can speak to that in just a second. In terms of application process and guarantee, and then I'm going to turn it over to Marina and Shell. So we guarantee housing to first year students who are coming to us in the fall, as long as you apply by May 1st. So you'll be admitted by the university, you'll be asked to pay a deposit to hold your space, and then at some point you'll be given access to what we call our housing portal to complete the housing application, which again coincides with your placement into an undergraduate college. We then either will give you an opportunity to select your own room, or we will place you into a room in your undergraduate college over the course of the summer. We've used both approaches. Uncertain right now what we'll do next summer, depending on where we are in terms of our current living situation on campus. And then we send out information to everybody about their room assignment in late July or early August, so that you have an opportunity to connect with your roommate or suite mate or other folks that you'll be living with to say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm looking for in a roommate or in a suite mate, and this is what I'm bringing to campus, what are you bringing to campus, so that you get to start to know that person before you get to campus. We are currently at that 45% occupancy on campus. As I said, we normally house between 10 and 11,000 students, but we're at about 45% of that. We hope to be a little bit more in the spring. But what I will say is that even at 45% occupancy, we have more folks living on campus now than many campuses house in a normal year at full capacity. So although the campus has lower occupancy, it's by no means a ghost town. It is still vibrant. As Mel talked about the programs that take place in student engagement, there are tons of opportunities for engagement in the residence halls and ways to connect with other folks that are there as well. Maybe a little bit more low key than in the past, but definitely happening. So I think I'll stop there and I'll turn it over to Marina first, and then if Shell wants to weigh in with anything as well. They're the experts here. They live on campus and they're students.
Okay, so I live in Dewey College, so it's a suite. You can see one of my rooms over there, and I have another. It's definitely been different this semester. Obviously, we can't hold the normal programs like, oh, everyone, let's come down and make dinner together, or everyone, like, let's have a Mario Kart night. We can't obviously do that. So we've been accommodating. Last night, I spent about 4 hours on an Among Us tournament and got absolutely annihilated, but it was fun. And we did it throughout the whole quad. So it was a really cool chance for not only the RAs, but the residents to get to know different people. My go-to program this year has been apple cider nights. So I've been getting different apple cider and cocoa and different kind of powdered drinks and going down to the classroom, and just people kind of filter in and out, stop, have a little chat. It's a good way to socially distance, and who doesn't love a good cup of hot apple cider on a cold day? What else? Campus as a whole, it definitely, there's less people, but student engagement, USG, they've been super awesome at planning programs for us. They've done like virtual murder mystery nights. There's been a ton of paint programs. Even some, if you RSV in advance, you do get to go in. After this, I'm going outside. There's a UPD field day. So I'm going to go play long games with UPD, and they have our campus chai time truck. So I'm going to go get some tea. Next weekend, there's a haunted house they're doing, and they're actually bringing an outside company in to set that all up. So what you do with that, you reserve in advance, and then you head over with your friends and you go in groups. I'm conning all my friends to go with me, even though they're all terrified of it. I'm very excited. But yeah, campus is definitely what you make of it. I do have friends that aren't too fond of getting involved, and they definitely have a very different experience than me. It's hard to go out, and any given day you're outside, you see stuff going on. So it's pretty hard not to go and just find yourself doing something. But personally, I am in the Undergraduate Anthropology Society. I play women's rugby, so that takes up a good chunk of my time. I'm an RA, I'm an RA liaison. I work over in USG and a bunch of other stuff. So I like to keep myself busy. So, like we've been saying, it really is what you make of it. There are endless opportunities to join clubs, to do what you want. My freshman roommate started an entire club. It's the Marine Science Club. She's the coolest person I know. I'm absolutely obsessed with her. But I helped her through the process. It's really, if you want to do something, this is the place to do it. You have people behind you, supporting you. Who doesn't want to go learn how to get scuba certified and go dive with sharks? Like, it was so fun. But definitely, if you decide to come to Stony, there's definitely going to be something for you. You just have to go out and find it.
Thanks, Marina. So Shell, can I put you on the spot? I know you weren't counting on speaking for campus residences, but you are campus residences, so.
Yeah, I am an RA in James College in H Quad, and that's the college, that's the quad that's for leadership and service, that's the UGC. And we are a different living style compared to where Marina is, where we are a corridor living style. So there's approximately 15 to 20 rooms on each floor and like a shared bathroom. I personally like the corridor living style more. I have lived in the same living style for almost 2.5 years now, and I like it because you get to see your residents more often, the people on your floor around you, like Al had mentioned, like you come out on the floor and the people are just there. I feel this year specifically has been a lot more helpful because people are doing online classes and they've been in their rooms the whole time. So they've kind of like interacted more with the residents and the people around them to sort of form those relationships and bonds and make those friendships that they've been longing for to make in college. And it's really nice to see all that happening. Like Marina mentioned, to touch on RA programming, like my go-to programming for this semester has been a lot of bingo nights and game nights, and we try to give off a lot of prizes because people love incentives. So anything from like a Starbucks gift card or like something like some apparel, some swag, bigger things like cups, prizes, food baskets. We've been trying to keep it exciting for everyone to come and sort of enjoy and be part of that experience. And people are like coming out because they do want to be involved and they do want to do more beyond just the academics and sort of spend time with the community as a whole. And yeah, like Marina mentioned, I was going to reiterate that you like campus is what you make of it. So, just be out there, explore. Don't be afraid to like take the first step. If you have to, take the initiative because that's how usually things start. And yeah.
Great, thank you, Shell. Thank you, Marina. So Tien, how do you want to handle the question and answer piece?
Yeah, so I think we got a lot of questions. And I've been chatting them to Al and Christine. So if you wanted to just take turns, go through the questions that you receive from students, and I'll keep sending them your way as we get them. We got some really great questions.
Sure.
So Christine, do you want to start with a question?
Yeah, I'm actually going to let Shell answer some of the questions. I know specifically students were asking from a student perspective about what are some favorite traditions, as well as like what is the weekend life experience like on campus, and then also Shell, I messaged Shell, so I'm not throwing all three questions out at once. He's prepared for these, but so weekend life, favorite traditions, and then also of just what's the dynamic like, concerns that we're a very heavy STEM school, and what's the kind of interaction and cross collaboration, and what opportunities and resources are there to bridge the gap with STEM students versus non-STEM students.
Yeah, so the first question we sort of got was, and if Marina wants to jump on this one, feel free to please. The first question is, what are some of your favorite campus traditions? So personally speaking, I have a sort of unique experience because my first year, I attended most of these traditions, and then starting my second year, I was sort of part of planning these traditions. But some of my favorite ones include Seawolf Showcase, which happens at homecoming, like the Friday night before homecoming, the homecoming game itself. This is where we have it at Scholar Steps, which is like one of the most beautiful places on campus. We have all of our performance clubs perform for the students, anything from a cappella groups to dancing groups, acting, bands, and it's a whole 2-3 hour thing. We have hundreds of students show up. It's a lot of fun. It's always packed. And that's what I enjoy really one of my favorite traditions. Something else we have is Winter Weekend, which happens sort of in spring. Last year we got a ice rink in one of our ballrooms for Winter Weekend where people could ice skate on campus, which sounds pretty crazy, but it is possible to do, which is a lot of fun also. Something else I really like is Spooky Brook, which is again happening for Halloween this coming weekend. It's a really fun tradition. It's something we started only a few years ago, but it's grown to a lot more than that. And it's a collaboration between student engagement, undergrad student government, other organizations on campus. And this time it's a 3-day thing, which is a lot of fun, a lot of events for our students, including a haunted house. So yeah, those are some of my fun, sort of my favorite traditions. Marina, do you want to jump in on this or?
Yeah, so I'll go really quick. So mine are Strawberry Fest. So kind of holds a special place in my heart because I wasn't able to attend my admitted students day because I was abroad. So my first time on campus was Strawberry Fest. It's basically you get a ticket and they have a bunch of different vendors out in the academic mall and they all serve like strawberry themed dishes. So it's like strawberry chipotle chicken wraps, like strawberry shortcake, lemonade. It's awesome. The food's magnificent. So it's been really awesome getting to attend that a few times. And my other, without a doubt, is Roth Regatta. It is the craziest weekend you'll ever experience. We build boats out of cardboard and duct tape, and we go in the lake or a pond and race each other. A lot of ties back to hall councils do it. If you have student organization, if you and your friends are crazy enough and want to build a boat, you guys can do that. And we have heats, and we go in heats, and they have Shake Shack comes and our dining services, and it's catered, and there's music and prizes, and it's just all day long. Last year it rained, and that made it even more fun because the water was warm, but it's really fun. Everyone dresses up. There's themes every year. So my freshman year, the theme was Dr. Seuss. So my friends and I were trees from the Lorax, and we had crazy wigs on, and we were officially the first boat to completely tip over. So those are pretty cool events we have too.
Yeah, and I mean, we also have like our concert, which the USG hosts in the spring, which is very popular. So there are a lot of traditions that are going on, and you can always be a part of those. I'm going to move on to the next question. The next question was, what does Stony Brook do to help with the divide between STEM and non-STEM students as it's such a STEM-heavy school? So yes, there are some valid points in there that it is a very STEM-heavy school, but there are very many non-STEM programs here and students who are in those programs as a whole. And oftentimes you'd see those students sort of mingling in the sort of cross programs. So you'll see non-STEM students in STEM programs or doing STEM activities sort of, and STEM students being involved in non-STEM programs. Some things that we do is sort of like a fun event that we host is called a STEM craft night, which sounds very interesting. So it's a STEM-based craft night, but it has nothing to do, like it's where you build robots, programs, but it's not that STEM heavy. So students who are part of the non-STEM program can be a part of that as well. And also a lot of our STEM students are involved in a lot of non-STEM things, like they are part of programs like Marina is a minor in leadership development. So a lot of STEM students tend to are passionate towards other non-STEM areas where they get involved and sort of develop those skills and explore their passion in that sense. The next thing, so the next thing I wanted to sort of touch on was like weekend programming. There's this common notion like on our campus or just in campus in general, that students tend to go home a lot on the weekends and there's nothing to do. I can personally say that is very false. There are a lot of things to do on campus for students to still be involved. And we do have students coming out to these weekend programs. And we as a department and even like Camp Res and the RAs host a lot of weekend programs to keep students involved and sort of make them come out on those weekend days. So there's a lot to do on campus on the weekends. It's not like it's a ghost town on the weekends. That is not true, like I said. It's just that you have to be out there and be willing to like explore and go out of your room and sort of be engaged in the environment, which I think is the biggest thing. And yeah. All right.
I'm going to piggyback onto that one. So I mentioned before that we house 11,000 students on campus in a normal year. So on any given weekend, about 55% of those students are on campus. So again, as I said, that's more than many campuses house year round. So you may not see a vibrant life on campus walking around the academic mall on a weekend, but those folks are here and they're doing their things and they're finding different ways to get engaged it may be a little quieter than normal, but there's still lots of folks here on weekends.
All right. The next question, which I think Marina will also like to answer, is what is your favorite and least favorite thing about Stony Brook in general? So I will say that undoubtedly my most favorite thing is definitely the people here. And that's a very common answer you hear from everyone here is when you ask someone what is their favorite thing about Stony Brook, you say the people. But it is very true in the sense that like there is a very strong sense of community that is on this campus where we have everyone living, sort of working together collaboratively, working for the sort of community upliftment of each other in a sense. And everyone's looking to help you and work with you in that sense. I'm looking to network with you, bond with you, and form those relationships. So the people is definitely one of the biggest things. And I have been like working to sort of form those relationships with people to sort of keep that going. And my least favorite thing, I don't have a least favorite thing, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, the only thing for me personally is that it's like farther away from home for me. So like I don't get to see my family that often because I am out of state or out of the country for that matter. But yeah, that's probably the least favorite thing for me. Yeah, Marina, you want to jump on in this one?
Yeah, so I'd have to agree that my favorite thing has been getting involved through my clubs and orgs and RAs. I've met some of, like, hands down the best people I've ever met. Silver lining of COVID is obviously not a lot of people did come back, but we also had a very different group of people come back. So while very few of my friends from last semester came back, I've got the awesome opportunity to become really close with my staff, not only my building, but in my quad. So I've made a ton of different friends who I probably wouldn't have become as close with had everyone been back. So I'm really happy about that I got the opportunity to meet new people. And hands down, my least favorite thing about Stony Brook is the geese. We have some very angry geese around campus. It sounds really stupid, but there's actually like a map of where they hang out because they will attack you and they just don't do anything. They don't contribute anything. They just make campus dirty and they're mean. But if you avoid them, they won't bother you. But yeah, that's it.
All right, so the next question in here is the learning environment more competitive or collaborative among students? And I think it is very much collaborative, where everyone is learning together and studying together. In a normal school year, you'll see like people like studying around desks, working together just before tests or studying for a midterm or getting homework done. And now also like I've known people who like hang out socially distant but study together or like hold virtual study sessions. You know, if you have a question, like you text someone, they're always there to help you in that sense. Professors also, and like professors in a sense encourage collaborative learning. They tell you to talk to your classmates, maybe work on assignments together in a sense. A lot of classes have group projects, so you get to know of like who is in your class and work collaboratively in that sense. So it is a lot more collaborative. It seems competitive when you initially come in, but it is collaborative. I can assure you of that. And then the next question I have here is how do you guys affiliate freshmen into the school? Which I'm assuming means how freshmen transition into the school or like okay. So there are many ways that freshmen are sort of like eased out into the process because it is overwhelming when you're joining university for the first time. It was for me personally. And but there are many resources available to sort of help you in that. One of the big things is, like Al mentioned, we do have an undergraduate model like at our university. So, and every freshman coming in has a freshman seminar class that they do. And that class is essentially meant to help them acclimatize to the university as a whole, understand the different resources. That was one of the most fun classes I had my freshman year because it is like it's not a graded class, so you get like a pass or like satisfactory, unsatisfactory class. So there's no like grade for that class. It was a lot of fun. They're much smaller, and you have a lot more intimate connection with the instructor and the fellow for that class. So in addition to the seminar class, there are like other resources on campus that the undergraduate college advisors kind of provide to the freshmen to sort of help them transition. The advisors are always reaching out to students to help them with their classes, their schedules, like RAs or like building staff or other leaders on campus or organizations are reaching out to freshmen to encourage them to get involved in that process. So yeah. any other questions? I was speaking for a very long time, so sorry if you're tired of my voice now.
All right, so I guess I'll jump in with some of the housing questions, and it looks like I can probably bundle them into some theme areas. So let me go ahead and do that. So a number of questions had to do with, do all freshmen live on campus? Am I required to live on campus? Am I guaranteed housing for 4 years? So freshmen are not required to live, or first year students are not required to live on campus, but I would strongly encourage you to consider doing that if you decide you want to come to Stony Brook, for two reasons. One is some of the things we've talked about in terms of becoming integrated into the community, in terms of the engagement opportunities, becoming active and meeting other folks. But more importantly, in most years, we're at full capacity. So if you don't take that guaranteed housing option as a first year student, you may decide in your second, third, or fourth year you want to live on campus and never have that opportunity to do that. So it's always better to try it as a first year and say, I've had that experience, I want to go home, or I want to go off campus, or as opposed to saying, I think I'm going to try home first and then want to move on to campus and not have that option to do that. So about 85% of our first year students apply to live on campus. As I said, we house about 11,000 students in a normal year. That's about 2,800 first year students from year to year to year. So another question, or a couple of other questions, had to do with safety on campus. And I'm sorry, I should have talked about that a little bit more in the presentation. So we take campus safety very, very seriously. And we work really, really closely with our partners with University Police, as well as with the fire marshals on campus, because life safety is just as important as personal safety. So all of our doors are locked 24/7. You get into the building with your ID card that's coded to let you into the building, and you are building only unless you have a class in another building, and then it's coded to give you access only during the time that you have a class in the building. We have students that we hire. Another big component of our student employment core is our student safety personnel, who literally walk the residence hall footprint continuously on an almost 24/7 basis. And when they're not out there, we have a private security firm, and we're a very, very safe campus. If you look at the campus crime report, which is nationally, schools have to publish that, you'll see that we are a very, very safe campus. But despite that, we have safety patrols that are students, and we have outside security companies that will walk in, and basically they're checking to make sure the doors are locked, that they're not propped, that nothing looks amiss. And if there is, then they're radio dispatched to University Police so that the police can respond. One of the things we talk about is making sure that you lock your door behind you. So as I said before, with cleaning, that is everybody's responsibility. Personal safety is also everybody's responsibility. If you leave your bedroom and you leave the door unlocked, you're inviting somebody to come in and explore, and that may not be the person you want in your room exploring. And if you leave the building and you decide, well, I don't want to carry my ID card, and I'm going to run across to Eastside Dining and get something to eat and come back, so I'm going to stick a rock in the door and prop it open, you've now opened that door to everybody else. So that's one of the reasons those safety folks walk around. They check to make sure those doors aren't propped, and they unprop them when folks come in. So we also have a walk service. So if you're on any part of the campus at night and you want to go to another part of the campus at night, you call our student safety service, and they will, again, radio dispatched, meet you where you are, walk you in a group to wherever you're going, and make sure you get there safely. So again, we take that very, very seriously. I saw a couple of questions about what does it take to be an RA. So really, you need to have a passion for helping students. There is a GPA requirement. It's really not as rigorous as it used to be, but there is a GPA requirement. But really, you have to be able to engage other folks and show that you're a leader and that you respect the campus community and can show that respect to others. So maybe Marina and Shale, do you want to talk about your experience having gone through the RA process?
Yeah, so it's definitely something that has been changing in the last few years. It has changed from the people who are my RAs to when we were RAs to when I did applications. Basically, you start by applying. It's a few essays, just the basic stuff. Once you apply, I think they're still doing it, a few-week class program. So what you do is you'll attend, it's like an hour-long class. It's usually in your quad. It's just different information, stuff to, whatever they have to tell you. And that's a cool opportunity. It's your first chance. You're with other RAs that you could possibly be working with. So it's a little networking opportunity. And then this year they started something new. So there was a group interview process and then an individual interview process. So that group interview, It's like a round table, like a conversation, just getting to know you, putting feelers out. And then the individual interviews are hosted. Well, you'll come in and talk to 2 RAs and an RHD, who is our boss. And we just ask you the basic questions, some here, there, everywhere questions. And after that, you wait a few weeks and you either get the, oh yes, like welcome to the team. You might get waitlisted, or unfortunately you might not get the position. Waitlist, it is competitive. A lot of people want to be RAs. It's an awesome opportunity. It looks great on a resume. It's nice. You don't have to pay for housing. You get a meal plan. But if that's your main incentive, it does come across in interviews. I've done a few rounds of interviews, and you can tell when people are in it just for the free housing. But being on the wait list, I was put on the wait list. I like to think of it as more selective than getting accepted in the first round because it is smaller. But I did get pulled off the wait list. I got pulled off before training even started. But that's something that we do have RAs that graduate. We do have some unforeseen circumstances. So honestly, a wait list is just, we're ready to pull you. You're ready when we need you to be ready. But most likely you will be coming onto our team at some point if you apply, and you can always reapply. And yeah, if you ever have questions, there's so many people to ask. Your RAs, your RHDs, the people teaching your class, everyone would love to help you.
Shale, anything to add? Or?
Oh, I was going to say, I mean, the second the point that the process is rigorous and competitive, and I say this from experience because I was rejected the first year I applied. So it is competitive, rigorous, but like if you're someone who like really wants the position and is passionate about it, then you are going to go for it again and apply for it. And eventually, if the interviewers and they see, you know, that you have what it is to be an RA, then you do get hired. And it is a very fulfilling position to have in the end.
So we're almost out of time, so I'm going to touch on one more question that was out there in the chat box, and then end the presentation there. So there's a theme of a question about does it cost more to live in corridors versus suites? Do I get to pick my roommate? Am I guaranteed housing for 4 years? So there's no difference in cost between corridors and suites unless there's an amenity tied to that. So what I mean by that is if you're living in a building that has air conditioning, you're paying more because you have air conditioning, not because you're living in a suite versus a corridor. If you're living in a building that has kitchens in the suite, you're paying more because there's a kitchen there, not because it's a suite versus a corridor. In terms of roommate pairings, our housing database, when you submit your application on the portal, you get to go out and tell us something about what you're looking for in a roommate. And then that portal allows you to see other students and basically tells you what percentage match you would be with that person. And you can actually try and meet up with that person and decide, yes, we'd be good roommates. We want to request each other as roommates. Or if you know somebody from home, you can do that as well. The caveat is that you both have to be in the same undergraduate college. So if Shale and I want to live together and he's in leadership and I'm in arts, culture, and humanities, we may be best friends for life. But if I'm in arts, culture, and humanities and he's in leadership, he's living in leadership and I'm living in arts, culture, and humanities. The campus is, as I said, looking at our model of placement in undergraduate college. So can't say that that will continue to be the same model going forward, whether it's next year or the year after, but that is the current model now. And in terms of guarantee of housing, if you come in as a first-year student, you're guaranteed 4 years of housing as long as you renew your housing agreement every year. So as I said before, if you step out and want to come back in, it's difficult to do in a normal year. So you are guaranteed 8 semesters of housing as long as you renew each year. And that process takes place in the spring and it's very extensively marketed. So I'm going to cut it off then because I know that we're just about out of time and I want to be sensitive to folks' schedules. So thanks for joining us today. As Tian said, this will be posted on their YouTube channel and most likely tomorrow. And feel free to search any of us on the university website. And if you have more specific questions, reach out and find us there. I'm sure we'd all be happy to answer them. So enjoy your night.